With the recent release of Raidou Remastered, The Mystery of the Soulless Army, I thought it would be helpful to share my thoughts on this forgotten Atlus gem to find out whether or not it's worth your time. For starters, this title is a remaster of the PlayStation 2 original, which has received a huge graphical overhaul alongside more demons from the modern Megaten games, as well as some convenient quality of life features such as an autosave and easier difficulty options. The footage that you'll be seeing in this video is taken from the Switch 2 version, but this game is available on every modern platform out there. Performance wise, from my time with the Raidou Remaster, things have been very smooth so far, and in handheld mode this game really pops running at a solid 1080p 60fps. Before going into this game, I was a bit cautious at first, since Atlus's history of remasters has been somewhat controversial in the past, like with their questionable Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne port. However, it seems like this time around Atlus has learnt their lesson, since this remaster is incredibly polished and looks beautiful. When it comes to talking about Raidou itself, this game is very similar to Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, where it's a more shorter, sweeter experience that's an action RPG opposed to its serious roots of being turn-based. The best way to describe Raidou is that it's part detective game and part action RPG. The main story surrounds these mysterious cape figures who kidnap a girl, and it's up to Raidou to figure out the many strange incidents that are going on centered around the case. This will have you exploring Japan during the Taisho period of the 1930s and interviewing many NPCs to find out more about your main objective, which will typically result in you exploring the demon's world to find out more, which is a darker take on Japan than is your standard overworld concept that is found in a lot of the other Megaten games, which is where the combat portion of Raidou takes place in. When investigating, you can also have your demons help you out in the real world with their unique skills, which can be used in side quests alongside tackling the main game story. Each chapter of Raidou takes the form of an episode that focuses on a part of the main mystery as you slowly piece everything together. It's really unique playing a JRPG that's more episodic in tone. Alongside its presentation, it really makes Raidou feel like you're watching an anime at times. I will say though, one disappointing aspect of this title that really shows its age is with the side quests. They are a bit too bland in my opinion, with them being as simple as walking up to an NPC and talking to them, or having a specific demon on hand with a certain ability. You can just ignore them outright, which is what I did for the most part, but they do stick out like a sore thumb when looking at how great the rest of this game is. When looking at the presentation for this title, like many Atlus games, it's very much stylized, but in Raidou, instead of looking vivid in anime, it's more bold with a sense of realism to everything, which is a nice change of pace from traditional Atlus games. Also, on a personal level, I really love the fixed camera angles and pre-rendered backgrounds used in Raidou. Similar to the Yakuza series, a lot of care and effort has been put into every screen to make sure you really feel immersed in Japan's atmosphere. Another comment on the presentation for this game has to be the incredible voice acting, which really goes above and beyond on selling some of these characters.
So, what brings the ace reporter of the Capital Daily here today? We've got a lot of work to do, so if you're here just to hang out, do it somewhere else.
Hang out? Excuse me, I came here today as a client.
Oh no, no way, no how. Take your noise somewhere else. Like I said, we're really busy.
Oh, really busy, huh?
In particular, the way a lot of the characters say the name of the main protagonist goes hard every time.
Raidou Kuzunoa the 14th! Raidou Kuzunoa the 14th!
I have been waiting for you, Raidou Kuzunoa the 14th.
Like seriously, there's something really cool about saying Raidou Kuzunoa the 14th. Alright, now that we've looked at the detective angle of Raidou, let's take a look at the other part that makes up this game as a whole, that being the combat. Straight away, it would be impossible to talk about the combat for this game without bringing up its difficulty, since it's what the Shin Megami Tensei series is best known for. If you're a newcomer to these types of games, I would still recommend it however, since a lot of effort has gone into this remaster and tweaking difficulty options to make it easier for certain players. With that being said, from my time with Raidou, I was playing on the standard difficulty, and let me just say I managed to die in the main tutorial, so yeah, it can be pretty difficult. Combat might feel overwhelming at first, with just how much is going on screen, with how you're also coordinating your demons alongside fighting, but over time I found myself adapting to this very quickly. As an action RPG, you'll mainly be using your reflexes to dodge enemy attacks, alongside banking on weaknesses in order to get the advantage. Despite being the most different combat wise from any other game in the series, you're still going into battle with the same mindset, that being to capitalize off enemy weaknesses. You can bring 2 of your demons into battle to fight alongside you, and in traditional Shin Megami Tensei style, you'll be relying on them when it comes to getting the edge in combat. But what would demon summoning be without fusion? Like other games in the series, you can fuse your demons together to create even stronger allies to help you on your journey. As previously mentioned, this remaster adds demons from Shin Megami Tensei 5 into the mix, which is a welcome addition. On top of all that, you'll still be negotiating with demons during combat to have them join the fray. When comparing Raidou to other games in the series, I found demon negotiation to be pretty easy this time around, with me never failing a single negotiation once. But I will say, with this game being an action RPG, the faster pace of picking up demons does complement the gameplay loop a lot more. Alongside demon customization, there are also different weapons that you can unlock, such as a fast hitting lance or a slow but powerful axe. You can also further upgrade these weapons as you progress throughout the game. Combat itself is fairly customizable, and there's a nice change of pace from the more traditional turn-based style that the Shin Megami Tensei series is known for. In regular encounters, I found combat to be fairly simple and a little button mashy at times as you mow down hordes of enemies. But the encounters go by so quickly and aren't really that long at all, so in the grand scheme of things it didn't really bother me that much. But by far where Raidou truly shines most is with its boss fights. This is where the true difficulty of this title shows and reminds you that this is in fact a Shin Megami Tensei game. The boss fights here are no joke. You really have to observe their movement patterns, since the hits done in this game can easily tear through your entire pool of health. Specific boss attacks in general will one-shot you, so you have to remember to call in your allies to make sure your demons don't get killed. I'm telling y'all, some of these boss fights can be very tense at times with the constant back and forth, with you relying heavily on your reflexes to dodge enemy attacks. This game is also very weird at times. I kid you not, there's a Russian boss fight which starts off with him doing the Prodiska dance as he jumps into a Matryoshka doll. Also apologies for my terrible Russian. But needless to say, despite its more serious tone, this game seems to have a very interesting sense of humour. Anyway, as a whole, the battle system in Raidou is very much rock solid. I ended up really liking the fast-paced nature of combat here. It spices things up enough to stand on its own. If you've ever played action RPGs like the Mana series, the Modern Trails entries, or even some of the Kingdom Hearts games, you should feel at home with this combat system. Moving on, I do have some minor complaints for the Raidou remaster which could potentially be fixed in future updates. For starters, despite Atlus's amazing history of making incredible user interfaces in their games, the UI here is a bit cluttered both in battle and whilst exploring. This is all the more questionable when you realise just how many games out there take inspiration from Atlus's UI that they've done in previous titles. Anyway, when it comes to Raidou, I found 2 issues with the UI. First of all, when exploring the overworld, there's so much on screen that it kinda clutters the background at times, and there's no way to turn it off in the options menu. Another issue that I found when it comes to the UI in Raidou has to do with the combat. Let's play a quick game here. Which one of these bars is the health indication and which one is the magic meter? That's right, for some reason these 2 health properties are switched. The yellow is the health bar and the green is the magic. I think this goes without saying, but universally most people associate green with health, so this is kinda confusing to most players. I also found that some of the puzzle solving in Raidou can be a little bit confusing when it comes to using your demon's abilities. The tutorial doesn't really communicate well enough what the demons actually do when on the field. So what would end up happening is that during puzzle solving sequences I thought I'd have the right demon on hand, but it turns out that I'd need another one. It's hard to explain in actual gameplay, but it can lead to a lot of frustrations when you think you got the right answer. Anyway, these complaints are merely just nitpicks when it comes to the actual quality of the Raidou remaster itself. Overall, this game really complements the rich history of the Shin Megami Tensei series, and I'm definitely going to finish my time with this one. It really goes without saying, but if you enjoy any of the Shin Megami Tensei games, Persona or the recently released Metaphor ReFantazio, then this game is an easy recommendation. It's another spice of Mega 10 that feels unique and stands on its own. Add on to the fact that this is a remaster of a forgotten PlayStation 2 title with all the charm associated with those types of games, and you easily have a match made in heaven for any fan of JRPGs. Despite its shorter runtime from other games associated with the genre, this one is a more short and sweet experience. And is an easy recommendation from me personally. But with all that being said, now I'm curious, what do you think about the Raidou remaster? Will you potentially be picking it up? Feel free to let me know in the comment section. Also, any feedback on this video would be appreciated. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a nice rest of your day.
Oh,
Raidou.
French is the language of love.
Kuzunoa the 14th!